There's great power in prayer, even more in group prayer. This is the foundation of the Unity Movement and our church. Our prayer ministry has close to over 100 active participants supporting our community and the world. There's great synergy in us coming together consistently. Beyond our own personal experience with prayer, there's so much evidence to its impact on the collective consciousness. The Maharishi effect shows that if 1% of the population meditates, it produces measurable improvements in the quality of life for the whole population. The world is going through a lot of change. We must go to the unchanging realm of the divine and help co-create the best outcome for the most impactful event taking place. Let's join together to support this cause. Thank you for joining us. Your presence, your consciousness is summoned for humanity at this time. There's great power in prayer, even more in group prayer. This is the foundation of the Unity Movement and our church. Our prayer ministry has close to over 100 active participants supporting our community and the world. There's great synergy in us coming together consistently. Beyond our own personal experience with prayer, there's so much evidence to its impact on the collective consciousness. The Maharishi effect shows that if 1% of the population meditates, it produces measurable improvements in the quality of life for the whole population. The world is going through a lot of change. We must go to the unchanging realm of the divine and help co-create the best outcome for the most impactful event taking place. Let's join together to support this cause. Thank you for joining us. Your presence, your consciousness is summoned for humanity at this time.
Hello there, Unity. Good morning.
Good morning.
I tell you, this is like my favorite time of the year. The weather's cooling off finally. Beautiful sunny days here. Anticipating a new season here just around the corner, and it seems like a great time to kind of take stock of where we are, where we've been, and maybe where we're going. And we're going to hear some more about that from Newsom later on here. Just a little quick plug here, being as I'm part of the music team here. You all heard about the choir last week if you were here, and just want to let everybody know we're going to be starting to rehearse for our Christmas concert. We've been without a Christmas concert for a while, so we want to come back out strong. So if you have any inclination about coming to sing with us, just come talk to Tim or myself. We'd sure love to have you. And I know we have some former members out there. Maybe they might feel like coming back to us again here, so I'd love to see that. All right, so a big welcome to everybody, especially if you're joining us online. You're right here with us, and we're going to try and get everybody woken up, and hopefully we can get you out of your seat here at some point.
Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more backwards thinking. Time for thinking ahead. World has changed so very much from what it used to be. There is so much hatred and a war on poverty. Oh, wake up all the teachers. Time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. 'Cause they're gone, the ones who coming up. The world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. Oh, the world won't get no better if we just let it be. No better, we gotta change it, yeah, just you and me. Wake up all the doctors, make all people well. We're the ones who suffer and who catch all the hell. Some don't have so very long before the final day. Won't you let happiness before we pass away? Wake up all the builders, time to build a new land. I know we can do it if we all lend a hand. The only thing we have to do, put it in your mind. Surely something work out, they do it every time. Woo. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. No, 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 no. World won't get no better. We got to change it, yeah. Just you and me. Gotta change it, yeah. Change the world. Just you and me. Woo, God, you need some help, y'all. Can't do it alone. We gotta change the world. Can't do it alone. Wake up, everybody.
All right, folks, we're going to take you back to the 90s, so feel free to stand up, clap, and sing along with this one. Right here, right now.
Ooh, a woman on the radio talks about revolution when it's already past. Bob Dylan didn't have this to sing about. You know it feels good to be alive. Woo! I was alive and I waited. I was alive and I waited for you. Right here, right now. There is no other place I wanna be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up from history. I saw the decade end when it seemed the world could change at the blink of an eye. And if anything, then there's your sign of the times. I was alive and I waited for this. I was alive and I waited for this. Right here, right now. Waited. I was alive and I waited for this. Right here, right now. There is no other place I wanna be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up from history. Right here, right now. There is no other place I want to be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up from history. Woo. Right here, right now. There is no other place I want to be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up. Right here and right now, as we dismiss the students to their classes, let us join in welcoming the Spirit of Christ into this place. Welcome into this place. Welcome into this open vessel. You deserve to abide in the praises of your people. So we lift our hands and we lift our hearts as we offer up this praise unto your name. Welcome into this place. Welcome into this epistle. You desire to abide in the praises of your people. So we lift our hands and we lift our hearts as we offer up this praise unto your name. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Let us pray over the names that have been placed in this prayer box. As we breathe in the breath of God, we are breathing in the life of God, the very essence of who we are. This life-giving force is always with us, leading and guiding us to fulfill our life's purpose and to be the fullest manifestation of the divine that we are meant to be. We set the intention to be open and receptive to divine wisdom and grace. So we send any blocks, false beliefs, or constricting emotions to the light to be transmuted to love. Our discernment enables us to make wise choices so we may remain in a state of love and acceptance. The natural rhythm of life reminds us that life is always waiting for us to accept the fullness of God's goodness. We claim this goodness and welcome our indwelling light and love so we can radiate it to all humanity and live in the flow of life. We hold this truth for every name in this prayer box, including all those unnamed. And we go forward with gratitude and clarity, expecting divine results. And so we let it be. Amen.
The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. All is beautiful, all is well, all is beautiful, all is well.
As we move into meditation, let us allow the chair to support us. Let the back of the chair support your back, but don't let it slump too much. Let's stay alert. Allow the breath to be deeper. Feel the face relax. Feel the throat relax. Feel your hearts relax. So as we invite ourselves to go deeper, and we let our breath be deeper, and we sink into the fullness of our internal self. Even as we go deeper, let us know we are not the body, nor our thoughts, nor the emotions. We have all these, but we are more than that. So let us practice recognizing that by extending our sense of self outward. First with the senses, sensing out beyond the body. And then expanding the sense of self into that space. Let your breath fill that space. So that as you inhale, the whole of you, the space as big as you are, inhales and exhales. Now as we move into the silence, let us continue to realize we are more than can be seen or heard. And let us feel and experience how grand we are in the silence.
us this day our daily bread. You said you would supply all my needs according to your riches. I have but to ask, and I shall receive. To go from here and share this love you gave to me, to show someone who's lost and help them find their way, the way to truth and faith, so they can be free like me, free like me. Lord, we are your love. Lord, we are your peace. Lord, we are your joy. This day, this day.
Good morning. It seems like, that I think I'm struck by the title that we're doing a life review, and we were thinking about this. It just sounds a little fatal to me, but don't take it as that serious. I'd just like to tell you a few stories and see how they fit with you. I had as a young person, as a 20-year-old, I went out to do the Grand Canyon as a trainee to be a river guide, and in so doing, it shifted my whole life. I was a sophomore in college at the time, and I had been working in a factory moving bricks from here to there for 2 summers, and I thought I would do something different. Really, I thought I'd do something different because I had a girlfriend who said, I love adventure, and I thought, I'm not actually fitting the picture of what I think she might want. And with that, I did what it took to get a slot on the Grand Canyon, and it really sparked an intense passion for me for doing these river trips. I met all the people I was working with were really incredible people, and the work itself was really fun. You get up in the morning and you make breakfast for everybody, and you row boats all day, and then you make lunch, and then you make dinner, and repeat. But the excitement of it, and meeting people from around the world, and being in charge of a raft, and ultimately in charge of the whole trips, you're parenting, or you're protecting and taking care of people who are your parents' age, and it became like a fast track to a good self-image. And I really enjoyed the work. I just loved what we were doing, and I took up kayaking, and I started a kayak school, and that led to doing international river trips, and et cetera, et cetera. So it was a great life, and during that experience, I hooked up with some people who were also passionately into this, and they opened multiple doors of knowing people that I wouldn't know otherwise. And one of the people I knew from that was Yvon Chouinard, whom many of you might have read about in the news recently. He is the owner, or was the owner, of Patagonia. Patagonia, also known as Prepagonia, the multi-priced clothing. So if you wanted a jacket, you could buy it at Penny's for $10 or at Patagonia for $65. And that little label was called Prepagonia by our friends. But anyway, Chouinard, let me tell you his story. Chouinard is about 5'4". And he was a part of these people that I knew from rafting and kayaking who were dirt baggers. They self-described dirt baggers. They lived in Camp 4 in Yosemite. So if you've been to Yosemite and been to Camp 4, it's nothing. It's just, most places have toilets and showers, and Camp 4 has nothing. That's where they lived. And Chenard's famous for saying, I used to live on dented cat food cans he bought for a nickel apiece. That's what he ate because they were all into climbing. They were so incredibly passionate into climbing, they didn't need anything. They pretty much lived in the dirt. That's why they call themselves dirt baggers. Now, Chenard, when he gave his company away, the company was worth $3 billion. So he came a long way from there. But what struck me about Chenard is he never changed. As a matter of fact, he never changed his clothes either. A few years ago, I did a funeral for one of these guys. Royal Robbins was one of the people I kayaked with, and Royal Robbins was the #1 rock climber in the world for a long time. At least when I was coming along, he was a revered character. And he was part of Chenard's tribe. And these guys gave everything to their sport. They were incredibly into it. And Chenard started making tools to make climbing easier and less damaging to the rock itself. And that began his process of being an entrepreneur. He would make these tools in a forge he had, and that would become a company he started, and then that went on to become Patagonia. Well, what was interesting was when we went to Royal Robbins' funeral, and I was conducting the funeral, and I spent a lot of time figuring out just how well-dressed I should be among this crowd. And finally I figured it out, and his wife said, yeah, you have the right thing on, which I was surprised she did that, but anyway, the crowd comes in. This is a who's who of climbing, by invitation only, 400 people, and everybody's giving their little testimonial about Royal, and Chenard is the last guy, except for me, is the last guy. And he comes up and he's got shoes they were basketball shoes of Doug Purcell's, the ones, they were the old style Converse basketball shoes. They were not the old style, they were the old basketball shoes. None of the clothes he had were within 15 years. None of them said Patagonia on it. It was just, the dirt bagger never died. And so it wasn't really surprising that he gave this company away. I mean, it's one of the biggest gifts ever given to charity in someone's living life while they're alive, and not for any tax deduction either. He just gave it away in such a way he didn't even get the tax deduction. But it wasn't about the money. His life has not been about the money, apparently. There might be some contradiction in terms in there, but his passion, which is, I think, why he did it, was to save the world. And another friend of ours, Doug Tompkins, and he and some other people had put together this big parcels of land in South America, down in Patagonia, probably up to about 3 million acres now at this point. And they have improved them, brought back native species, et cetera, reintroduced animals that were missing, and they started national parks. And they probably have about 6 or 7 of those now that they created. And then he gave his company away for to help reduce climate change. It's a pretty high bar to have friends like that. So just thinking about this, I thought it would be important for us to examine our own lives. Not that many of us are going to be in that peculiar position where what we do and what the world needs is so extreme that we would come up with a $3 billion valuation of it. But that what we do does matter. Because even before Yvonne was Patagonia's founder and owner, he was legendary for doing something really well, for making these tiny little devices that would slip into rocks in such a way that you could climb better and with less damage to the rocks. And people knew about him forever because of that. So he was always a hero in our world for his innovation and his dedication and his quirkiness, right? Of being absolutely himself. I mean, who eats cat food? Right? Out of dented cans. I mean, maybe if they were brand new cans, but if they were dented. And so, as we think about our life, I think we often wonder, what is my purpose? And so I've done a little research on what people are saying these days. And so a long time it used to be said, follow your passion and the money will come. Remember that? How many of you did that? And it kind of worked and it kind of doesn't. Sometimes you really hit a home run, sometimes you don't. But largely I think it's more complex than that. That if you want to know what your real purpose is, yes, what you're really interested in will matter once you get started doing something that matters to everybody else. So if you don't do something that can help the world, if you just do your passion and it does not connect, there's a really good chance you won't eat well. Maybe cat food might be on your diet. That your passion without finding how it is useful for the world doesn't add much to your wallet or to the expanse of the world itself, typically. Now, there are exceptions, of course. But knowing what you're good at and expanding on that will help develop your own sense of contribution to the world. And when you figure out what you're doing for the world, that sense of belonging will happen also. And the sense of reward will happen as the world says, thank you for doing that. I was watching one video, and this guy said, how many people here would like to know their purpose? And of course, this is a TED Talk, so most people are pretty well along the way of being successful in some way, typically by the audience that shows up. But almost everybody was good. You could feel it. Everybody wanted to know, what is my purpose? Right? Do you ever wonder that? What is my purpose? Many of us in here, some of us are on the beginning of our lives, and some have passed the working years, but the question still remains, what is our purpose at this moment? Here's how he answered it. He said, first of all, you want to know who you are, and then you want to, let me see if I can get all these. So the question is who you are. Who are you? And he said, all right, so if y'all will play with me, I'll kind of reenact this a little bit. He says, so who you are, just say your first name as loud as you can. So on the count of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's who you are. I thought that's cheating, but it was pretty good. And he goes, okay, and so now, what is it that you're good at? And he said, so just imagine if you had to teach somebody what you're doing, what you could teach somebody right this moment that you already know how to do, that you do well enough that you could be a teacher of it, and the question, and then what would that be? So on a count of 5, can you come up with an answer for that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What would you teach? There you go. Okay, so there you got it. So that's essentially the second component of it. Now the third component is, I'm going to have to ask my notes here what that is, because this is his talk, not mine. And then, so that's what you do, and then who do you do it for? So on a count of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, who do you do it for? And then now we're getting a little deeper, and this is what need does that fulfill for them? Not for you. What need does that fulfill for them? Okay, question understood? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then how are they changed? How are they changed? So you have what you do, you know who you are, you know what you do, you know who you do it for, you know what they need, and then how are they changed? Right? Now the beauty of this was, the punchline really of this 5 questions. So can y'all do, how are they changed? Want to try it? Probably takes a sentence, not a word, right? But if you boil it down to one word, can you say it in one word? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so there you go. So when you're in an elevator or at a bar, which I was just a couple of nights ago, I was at a bar talking with a friend at the corner, of the bar, and this millennial crowd of 8 people came up, and they were like jovial and laughing and stuff, and they kind of bumped into us and started talking to us and pushed us into their conversation. And this woman, they were really, really wonderfully pleasant, and this woman says, "So what do you do?" And I went, "Oh God, I don't want to say this." So I would have had this answer. How were they changed can be your answer. If you don't want to say, or you want to have a more in-depth conversation, then I'm an engineer, or I clean houses, or whatever the word is, you could say, how does it change them or improve their life, right? And so it dawned on me that I could say, I inspire people to have the fullest life they can have, right? And that would have been a much more interesting answer than what I was afraid of saying, right? Because I didn't really want to end the conversation, right? And that can be your elevator speech. When someone asks you, what do you do? Just tell them what you do that changes someone else's life. Now, I was thinking for many of us that are retired, we're probably going, yeah, well, I don't really have that thing. But many of us do. We're volunteering, or we have that. Or the other thing you could say, which may not be a practice you have right now, but a practice you could adopt, is that I pray for people. And ultimately, I lead them to have a need fulfilled, which would be twofold, which would be that someone cares for them, and that there is a deeper connection with the divine with them, and how they're changed is really you're in bringing them to a higher state of awareness and to a deeper connection to themselves. And wouldn't that be something you could say at a bar? Yeah, what do you do? Well, I bring people to a higher connection to the divine, and I let them find out their deeper sense of self. Oh, really? Buy this man a drink, right? So we could always have a purpose, no matter what stage of life we're in. And we probably already have it, we just don't recognize it. And so we walk around kind of wandering and wondering who and what and is our purpose, because we have had fewer ways of examining it that felt satisfying. But if you come to the end conclusion that your passion has a place in this world, if you can get it to also energize you toward doing something that makes the world better. And that's combining those two things, doing something that the world needs and doing something that you need. When you can get those things to line up, now you have something that you can go to a bar and talk for hours about. The power of your being, your true nature, cannot be fully expressed, I think, until you begin to contact this sense of oneness in which your education, whether it be formal or informal, your experience, your passion, what you can do well, and what the world needs, when they can all be worked together into something. And then you go about your life as a whole, not as just a worker, or not as just someone who is wandering, because there is, in this education process, a wandering for sure. And wandering happens again when we turn the corners of our life. Many people, when they retire, are in this process of wandering, and sometimes I think it is the lack of finding after that wandering that causes people to retire and then die. Because the body and the mind need purpose. It's weird, but we don't drift all that well if we do it too long. Fundamental to the evolution is a period of not knowing for sure. But there should also then be a period of finding and expressing so that we get the full circle. When I was in my first church, the favorite song of that congregation was, "I'm not lost, I'm exploring." And that's a good phrase, but find also. And we are spiritual seekers, and so we're constantly willing to explore. As a group, we're radically different than many people in that our exploration, we don't think it's best to find someone who has all the answers and just land there. We have decided as a group that we're going to keep pushing the edge of the envelope of our understanding until we die. So we're in constant exploration. But we should also be constantly finding, landing on something that brings us a sense of, oh yeah, I'm getting there. Even though we might start the exploration again. And on our work, it's the same thing. Let us find a way to contribute, even though we might be exploring new ways of being. Let's stick around. I had a friend who was in the financial planning business, and one of his phrases he often said was, stick around long enough to get a paycheck. So you can't just explore, and you can't lead before you get good at it consistently. I mean, you will sometimes, but I remember I went out to Prime Tobacco when I was 16 years old, and I left after one day because I didn't want to be good at it. But stick around long enough to get a paycheck. Do something well enough that you can be paid for it. Get really good at it so that you can make a really good contribution to the world, and the world can thank you for that contribution. And if you're retiring, then find something that actually feeds your soul and the world at the same time. And it could be as silent and as invisible as praying for others. Or it could be as large as selling your company and giving it to the world. Or it could be somewhere in between. We all have a gift that we will be better off by sharing. In the Gospel of Thomas, it says this: there's something inside you that if you bring it out, it will bring you life and enhance your life greatly. And if you fail to bring it out, it will kill you. So let's not be too cautious. Let's bring it out. Let's be that person. And if you're not sure what that is, this is a good time to review and to reconnoiter what is next. So I invite you to take a little time right now, and we'll go in, give you a little bit of time of silence for you to answer these 5 questions, and I'll read them to you again as we go into meditation. So let us take a moment. So without being too esoteric, the question is, who are you? And then what is it you're good at? And who do you do that for? And why is it that they come to you or you go to them? What do they need? And finally, how are they changed? And if you know those answers, let them give you comfort and inspire you to know your purpose and to be who you have come here to be. And so it is. Amen.
Do you know where you're going to? Do you like the things that life is showing you? Where are you going to? Do you know? Do you get what you're hoping for when you look behind you? There's no open doors. What are you hoping for? Do you know? Once we were standing still in time, chasing the fantasies that filled our minds. You knew how I loved you, but my spirit was free, laughing at the questions that you once asked of me. Do you know where you're going to? Do you like the things that life is showing you? Where are you going to? Do you know? Now looking back at all we planned, we let so many dreams just slip through our hands. Why must we wait so long before we see how how sad the answers to those questions can be. Do you know where you're going to? Do you like the things that life is showing you? Where are you going to? Do you know what you're hoping for? When you look behind you, there's no open doors. What are you hoping for? Do you know?
Thank you, Jim. Love the flute. The volunteer team that we are going to be recognizing and highlighting today is the bookstore, or I should say, the team that's coming into fruition. It's a newly formed team. Barbara is leading it. She's looking for volunteers. There will be a little opening when she's ready, when people have volunteered. It only takes about 15 minutes after the service. You'll be in the bookstore. So if you love being around books, love to volunteer for a short period of time, Barbara's looking for you. Barbara is also our volunteer coordinator, so she's available for all of the volunteer teams if you are interested in another way of serving your community. And she's the volunteer extraordinaire. She does a beautiful job, and she does a wonderful job of actually inspiring you to be a volunteer. So Barbara, thank you.
Good morning, Unity family. How are you? Good. Thank you, Newsom, for such an inspiring, as usual, mic drop talk. Thank you, everybody who's watching us online. I just wanted to, by the way, my name is Yesenia Bocanegra, and I'm the marketing director here. You might have seen me usually behind a camera or looking at my phone, but just wanted to go over a couple of things that are coming up. Like Jay said earlier, we are getting ready for the fall, so we've got the fall equinox service this coming Thursday at 6:30, and also we're going to be celebrating our solar project celebration, so yay for that. NC Solar will be here as well, so if you have any questions about our solar project, you can ask about that to them. Also, we've got our book study. We are kicking it off on October 2nd, and signups are already happening. You can sign up anytime online, or if you need help, we can definitely set you up in the welcome desk. So let us know. It's going to be based on Living Untethered, Michael Singer's book. So October 2nd, mark your calendar and sign up for a group. We've got options in person and online. And Pet Blessing, October 1st. It's going to be from 10 to 12, so bring your fur babies here, or not fur babies, for a special blessing from our ministers. And as always, I just wanted to remind you that you can always check out our website, unitytriangle.org, for any latest updates on anything that we're having here. Which brings me to my other point, is that we are really, Newsom talked about passion, and we are really passionate about what we do and being able to serve you in helping you in your spiritual journey. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for being here, for staying present, and for volunteers and everybody just for being a part of this wonderful community. But we are able to do this with not just your volunteer, but just your time, your talent, and your treasure. So we want to be able to continue providing resources and ways for you to feel and call Unity of the Triangle your family, your church home. So we can do this with your contributions, but it doesn't stay here. we circulate those gifts out to our community. So we really believe in that. So we definitely want to thank you and encourage you to continue contributing to our church family so that we can continue sharing those gifts. So with that in mind, I would like to, our ushers can stand. And with that in mind, and for those of you who are online as well, I just want a quick reminder, you can donate in person or just donate online. And I would like to go ahead and bless your contributions. So together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.
We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
1, 2, 3.